Hey, what's going on? How you doing, everybody? How's it going? Welcome to this new episode. This new episode of the morning show. My name is Elliot Rodriguez. You can see my name right here. I am your host for today and for every day that I have the show. Today on the show we have a very interesting guest who's going to talk with us about his new comic called "Do You See What I See?" And we're going to take a look at his comic making process, the campaign. We're going to take a look at the art, really good art. I really like what I saw, and we're also going to take a look into his writing process. And the creator today is a writer, so I'm pretty excited about that because normally I don't have a lot of writers come on, so I'm going to try to exploit that to this fullest. So if you have any questions about the writing process, please drop them in the comments below. And hopefully you can hear me. Please let me know if you can hear me clearly. And I just want to say to the people showing up, thank you very much. Thank you, Rick. How you doing? Good morning, man. Good to see you. Thank you very much for stopping by. Always a pleasure to see you, man. And I'm a big fan of yours because you support almost all of the CG projects. You're just the number one CG fan, I would say. And then D-Wag, hey, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Thank you very much for stopping by, for showing up. Yeah, man, just I don't know what I can say about D-Wag, man. Just an awesome person, really good, really great friend. He goes above and beyond to help and support other people, to help other people. Yesterday, he went all out on John Malin's channel. He also did his own thing to close out Aquila yesterday. Excellent stuff, man. Really, really impressed, really admired. Just amazed by everything you're doing. Thank you, man. Thanks. I really appreciate that. And yeah, man, having you here is an honor of mine. And everybody in the channel, anybody watching this in replay, please be sure to check out D-Wag on his YouTube channel. I'm gonna pull that up if I can find it on time. And here it is right here. Hold on, let me find it again. I want to also thank my guest for his patience. Yeah, but this is D-Wag's channel. Be sure to subscribe. You're not going to regret it. He has excellent videos, funny stuff, excellent person. He's 6 away from 400, so he's getting it done. Please be sure to follow him. And yes, and without further ado, thank you, man. I'm a big fan of yours, man. I'm gonna cry. It's so nice. It's all in the day's work. Sometimes you got to get your hand dirty. So humping. Yeah, man, you're doing it, man. Yeah, man, you're doing it. You're doing it big time. Supposedly I stopped sharing. I think it's still up. Give me a second. All right. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on my guest. Please, a big round of applause for the incredible Nick Brewster. That's how we like to welcome our guests here. What's going on? How you doing, Nick? What's going on, man? Thank you very much for coming to the show.
Thank you for having us on.
Excellent, man. Just so we can get to know you a little bit better, please, what can you tell us about yourself? How long have you been involved with comics, and what got you into comics?
Yeah, sure. So, I'm a writer based in Australia, and I hadn't really done too much in comics. My background is more in film sort of stuff. It's distribution and writing for film, and then get Enrique going. And then basically decided that I was going to make one of my my scripts into a graphic novel. So that's how I came across to comics, and pretty much that's had to start reading them if I wanted to make one. So that's how that was my entry into
nice.
Comics. I didn't read them growing up much, to be honest. So
Oh wow,
Yeah,
interesting. So it's like the reverse. So you liked writing first and then comics.
that's right. Yeah, exactly.
Ah,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. And I still sort of, most of my writing is done in screenplay form, just because I know that structure, and then I adapt it into a comic format. But I think you can sort of see that in the style of the book as well. I had a few
Yeah,
people
because
say.
yeah, I was going to yeah, I'll mention that later on, but I did notice that about the layout for the comic. It's really a movie-esque, if I could say so. Huh?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so
Nice.
I guess
So
the way it was sort of put together was a little bit like that too, with the way I interacted with the artist, in terms of like a director, cinematographer sort of way, I guess.
exactly. So I could safely say that your your influences in terms of writing come from outside of the comic world. And could you tell us who are some of your biggest writing influences?
Yeah, sure. So I guess yeah, I'm a child of the '80s, so I sort of grew up watching. This book's a slasher, so it's kind of got a lot of
The slasher, you
bad.
say?
Yeah, it's a slasher. It's a satirical slasher. So a lot of bad '80s horror stuff and good '80s horror stuff as well. But yeah, so I like some people like John Carpenter. Um, Grew up
Nice.
watching a lot of his stuff. So he obviously writes a lot of his stuff too. Um, but then some of the bigger guys in film like James Cameron, um, those sort of, I guess it's sort of auteurs in a way. Um, they're the influences I'd have. Probably what developed my writing a lot was because I was working in film distribution and acquisitions as well. So the way a lot of independent movies get financed is from the actual script. So it's before the movie's actually made.
Wow.
You have to buy it essentially. So I was reading hundreds of scripts, film scripts, and that's sort of probably how I developed my own writing, just because I was constant and I was having to do reports on these scripts
Nice.
to see if they were commercial or not. So yeah, and then but I'd always been writing sort of myself, just little stories growing up. So and then eventually I left the film distribution and went into trying to yeah write my own projects to produce for film as well.
Nice. And yeah, and it just I wanted to say hi to BA Turner. How you doing, man? Thank you very much for stopping by. And yeah, I think you guys I think BA is going to really enjoy this today's show, because BA is also a writer and he's got a book out. And yeah, and I think it might be safe to say that his influences are also outside of the comic realm, comic world. And yeah, so that's really really interesting. And I also want to say hi to my sister. What's going on, TV? Hey, thank you very much for stopping by. She's always showing support. I really appreciate that. And and yeah, so yeah, so could you tell us like and guide us through the whole script writing process? Like, I mean, have you written many scripts? What type of nuances and things do you like to bring to your scripts, to your movies, and your ideas?
Yeah, so I've got a couple of scripts which I'm looking to, on top of this one, which I'm looking to turn into graphic novels. They tend to be sort of like a bit of a mix of genres, whether it, like a little bit of comedy thrown in with another genre. So this one obviously is a satire. So it's that sort of dark humor thrown in with the there's a lot of gore as well in this book. It's kind of like a classical slasher that way. But then yeah, I've got my other scripts. They're sort of like comedy mixed with drama,
Nice,
and the sequel to this is like we might even move a little
awesome.
bit away from the slasher sort of part of it, but yeah, keep that satirical sort of thing as well. So yeah, I sort of when I did start looking at comics, I sort of gravitated towards that Vertigo line of books, the Garth Ennis sort of stuff. So that really attracted me because I think it sort of felt like the stuff I was interested in and also writing as well.
Nice. That's all. And how much do you write every day? Like, do you get like a few pages in every day? Is it how does that?
Yeah, so that's interesting because I feel like I'm constantly writing, whether I'm actually putting words on a page or not. So most of my writing would be done sort of when I'm, if you just going for a walk or something in the morning, I could be sorting through plot or structure in my head, and then you come back and you try and put some stuff to page. But yeah, I can, for myself, like I can go, you try and set aside, a few hours, but you might not write a word in that few hours, and then another few hours you might write a whole bunch of pages. So I don't try and force it.
Okay.
Definitely.
And I'm assuming you develop ideas as you go through, throughout the day. Nice.
Yeah. So, and sort of thinking about scenes, and I tend to write in a sequence of sort of setups, I guess. So, it's set pieces. Maybe that's what I'd call them. So you're constantly thinking about those set pieces and how they work in the broader story, and how you connect the set pieces together in a way which doesn't feel strange, or it actually serves the story. Yeah, but then I also do a lot of rewriting of drafts. So, and it might I tend to generally have like a pretty good idea of what the first act is going to be.
Yeah.
And sort of where you get up to that inciting incident of something of taking you on the journey through the second act. But the second act's always the hardest one to get through.
I think it's the longest one also, if I'm not mistaken.
It's the longest one too. But yeah, I find that's always the hardest one when I'm writing a script, is to get through that second act so that you can tie it up at the end.
Yeah, I'm in the process of writing my story, and I'm reading about how to write, and one thing that really caught my attention was this percentage that this particular writer gave to writing a story, and he said that the first act was like 25%. I think he said 20%. Then the second act would be like 60%, or I think he said 70%, and then the last one is 10%. And just to give an idea of how much story or how much you should dedicate to each part of your story. Is that about right? Is that what you write your scripts also?
Yeah, pretty much. And I do kind of talk in a film language in terms of structure. So in a film structure is a little bit different to like a serial comic book, I'd say. But with my graphic novel, it kind of just transfers across in terms of sort of general film structure, I'd say. But so I don't even start writing until I sort of work the first act out in my head. That would be probably like the little bit under a third of the entire story. Nice. And then as you said before, the second act probably a little bit longer, like that 60% sort of thing, and then you tie it together at the end. Yeah.
Nice. Exactly. Awesome. And how would you compare writing for movies, like in the script, and then writing for comics? I'm assuming that there are two different things, or are you able to manage and then to mix one with the other?
Yeah, they are. So just in terms of like technical formatting and stuff, like it's a little bit different. But I've heard like other writers and other creators sort of talk about adapting a film script into comic before, and saying how it's like sort of tremendously different. But I think that it sort of depends on the style of the book you're going for in the end. So I sort of found with the style of the book that I wanted to go with in the end is it kind of flows pretty quickly, and it's not overly busy with art and lettering. So it felt reasonably easy to adapt. So I would literally just look at a scene in my screenplay and just sort of break it down into pages and panels. And if I had to add panels in, or I would, but I would have to think about the book format in terms of where pages turn and that sort of thing. But I would sort of just look at a scene and say, oh yeah, that feels like 4 pages to me, and then I would break it into panels from there, and I would just adapt it over into a script for the artist. In terms of it would be a little bit unique from what I've seen from other scripts of comics, but I would just adapt it straight over it, but break it into pages and panels. Yeah, it was the quickest way to do it as well, actually, apart from instead of trying to write it from scratch again.
Yeah, exactly. I can imagine because I mean, I would assume it's 2 different approaches, no? And yeah, that's awesome. And how has it been working with the artist in developing these pages and the panels? Has there, because I hear this over and over again. I don't know to what extent it could be true, but a writer can have like so many ideas, and then they'll write like a page, like a scene description for a panel, and then they'll include like 4 or 5 actions, and then that would be really difficult for the artist to put out. Have you had any kinds of situations like that with your artist on the book?
Yeah, we seem to work pretty well together. My artist G, she's got a bit of a background in film as well, so she would have been doing some storyboarding for Disney, and
Oh, nice.
so we sort of had a pretty good language, I guess, back and forth, which we could understand. So because when I broke it into panels, I would sort of sometimes I would give more direction than others if I wanted to have a certain expression or something definitely brought across. But I would just suggest a number of how many panels and what I wanted in each of those panels, but then I would just leave the layout completely up to the artist. And so I would go as far as sort of saying even sort of what the frame size, but we're sort of talking in a film language a little bit, like in terms of shot size, I guess.
Exactly.
And, yeah, but then, I would just. She was like really. She sort of like understood like what I wanted like straight off the bat. So it was. I rarely had to go back, and no, I didn't really have to go back at all and sort of change things. So she's really good at doing expressions in the art as well, and
Yeah, yeah.
but also she could tell story. If she needed to add a panel or delete a panel, or in order to tell the story better, like she was great at doing that in the layouts.
Yeah. I was looking at the pages, and yeah, she does. In my opinion, I think she does really, really good work. The expressions are there. You can tell when they're happy, concerned, afraid, and then she's also using gestures like body language to help convey the emotions. And yeah, it's really good work. I really like it. And yeah, as I mentioned, like I was scrolling through the pages, and I get this slasher '80s vibe to it. So So yeah, I think it's working out really good, and I've also noticed that the book is 176 pages, if I'm not
That's
mistaken.
right. Yeah.
And you got like 19. No, I'm sorry. I think you got like 15 of those pages already shown to the people. Are you afraid of giving away too much of the story?
No, not really. I mean, I just put the entire opening prologue up. So yeah, and then you say I think it's 17 pages of continuous story that I've put on the campaign. I just wanted to give people an idea of the style of not just the art but the writing as well. And this sort of this is just a party which is set. It's a sort of like the book set in the present day, but they're having a sort of a retro party at their college.
Yeah.
And so it goes really right through that 17 pages. That sort of, but this happens a year before the main story kicks off. So I just thought I'd put that whole prologue on the campaign. gives
Yeah,
people
nice.
a good
Yeah,
idea.
it looks great. Yeah, it looks great. And yeah, just wanted to say hi to the people that have shown up recently in the chat. And yeah, and BA says yes, he's good, and he's right. I'm right about what I said about him, that he's also new to the whole comic thing, and he's written a novel also, and you know, just saying hi to everybody. Hail Odin, how you doing, man? Good to see you, and thank you very much for showing up. Amanda, how you doing? What's going on? Good to see you. Thank you very much for coming and stopping by, and yeah, so awesome. So yeah, you're using these pages to hook the reader in, and
That's right, yeah. And in sort of classic slasher style, it sort of like there's like a tragedy which happens in the prologue, and then we come back a year later and dealing with the fallout from that. And
yeah, this is
there we go. Yeah, so that's
this happens. Yeah,
the first death in the, and
the fr-
there's plenty of deaths in the book as well. So yeah, that's the first
yeah,
one.
awesome.
Yeah,
And
and
go ahead. Yep.
yeah. So with I guess the style of the pacing, yeah. So and because it is 176 pages, yeah, like we are generous. It does give the opportunity for the artist just to do a panel, which just the point of the panel is to show an expression or
Exactly.
give away one emotion or sort of thing. So yeah, I like that flow of storytelling.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that you could say that's very similar to storyboarding, if I'm not mistaken, in movies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I guess a lot more detailed than the typical storyboarding. It's pretty simple sort of thing. So
Yeah.
this is definitely more detailed.
Yeah, I can hear the music with this, no, and the dance styles and the clothes and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, good stuff.
yes. So that's it's a bit of fun in that opening
Nice.
scene. Yeah, a lot of pop culture references, I guess. Yeah, thrown
Yeah,
in
yeah.
as well.
Yeah, here's the first. Here's the first.
Yeah, and this was a good way to introduce all the characters actually as
Yeah.
well. We don't meet our main heroine until after this party, but this introduces everybody else, and it's you just sort of gradually move through the party, meeting new characters and developing the story at the same time.
Yeah, good stuff. And the panel work, yeah, good. I dig it. I dig it.
Nice.
And yeah, and let's see what else. Yeah, so I would assume that with the 176 pages that you've had this project cooking for a long time. Like, could you tell us how long did you have these ideas set up?
Yeah, sure. So I started writing this in 2017,
Oh, wow.
and we were going to do it as a movie. So we had some funding, some independent finance for it, and so I wrote the script. And as I said before, I sort of do a lot of rewriting. So there's probably 4 or 5 drafts of the screenplay done over about 2 years. So, and in that 2 years, we were sort of also doing the producing part of the movie as well. And we'd sort of got to the point where, over that 2 years, we started casting up the movie. And we had some pretty cool casting and all that sort of stuff. But then the finance sort of just fell through, which happens quite a bit in film. A couple of weeks before we started pre-production, and that also sort of coincided with leading into the start of COVID, when everything stopped anyway. All the film production and stuff stopped. So that's when I decided to. That's when I started looking at other alternatives to get the story out there.
Nice.
Yeah,
And-
so I
and
started.
then you-
That's when I started
And then
adapting it.
to the comic format.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Yeah.
And that's when you I'm assuming came into contact with your artist though. Her name is
Jisoo.
Jisoo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jisoo
how did
Kim.
you meet how did you get in contact with the artist?
So I wanted to find an artist which was reasonably local, and so I just did a lot of research online, basically, because I didn't have any connections in to artists or to anyone in the comic industry. It's not a particularly big industry in Australia anyway. But I just jumped online and started going through people's portfolios, and I
Nice.
just stumbled across G's one day on ArtStation. And she'd been doing some work where she'd been going to, before COVID, she'd been going to cafes and sort of just drawing the scenes in the cafe. But I kind of liked how she was doing the perspective and just how everything looked. So I sent her the script, and it sort of resonated really well with her, and she sort of understood what the themes and what I was trying to do in the book.
Yeah.
Like she got it straight away, and so I think she started drawing right at the end of 2020, and she drew right through 2021. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
So she's been on the project since 2020, and in the last 2 years, she's put out 176 pages for the book.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I think I got pretty lucky.
Yeah.
As well.
Wow.
Because
I don't think I have that many pieces of art. Just period. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, we sort of set ourselves to try and do 20 pages a month.
Wow.
Yeah, so she was great, and then
that's impressive. Yeah, that's impressive for the quality of her work and how fast she gets it done. That's awesome. Yeah. So guys, anybody out there, check her out. Check out her work. Don't take her away from Nick, but just check it out and support and stuff like that.
Yeah. So she's like her Instagram is Pen Traveler. If people are looking.
Nice. She's on Instagram also. Sweet. Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
And awesome. So do you see what I see? Is this going to be an ongoing series, or is this just like a one and done, and then you'll jump onto the next?
This one is a trilogy. So
nice.
Yeah, but that would all be sort of this length as well. So I sort of have the trilogy. Well, I'm starting to outline it. I haven't really got into the nuts and bolts of writing the second story, but just because there's quite a lot of research involved as well. So I'd say that there'd be like as I was sort of mentioning before, before I actually jump in to start writing the first act, I'd say there's a couple of months at least of sort of researching and outlining sort of where I want to go with it. So you're not writing too much stuff that you don't use in the end.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, but I have a loose outline for 2 more books after this one.
Awesome. Yeah. And if the opportunity arises, would you ever consider like adapting this back to the movie, or maybe for a book, or with that?
I mean, if the opportunity came up, but I'm not too worried about that, to be honest. Like I just I had a lot of fun making the graphic novel, and so that's kind of like that's how I want to make things initially from now on.
Nice.
Yeah, and then I found it just working with a smaller team as well. That was a lot of fun compared to trying to produce a movie. There's so many, there's so many more sort of factors that come into the producing side of things, which I was doing for the film too, which I don't miss that much, to be honest. So, but if someone else, if someone did want to come along and adapt it into a film, then that'd be great.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I would say that so it would be okay to say that you're happy in the comic medium. You're happy with what you've seen so far and the
Yeah,
potential that that there exists with comics.
yeah, absolutely. So like, and then because I guess it you can sort it allows me to sort of bring across a vision as a writer,
Mm-hmm.
um, more so than I'd be able to do in film as well, unless I was to direct the movie sort of thing. So yeah, you have more involvement, and then yeah, and I'm just sort of dipping my toe into it, into the graphic novels and comics, and then as I make more contacts with other creators and stuff, yeah, I think it could be great.
Awesome. That sounds great. And how would you describe the how would you describe the scenery that you've seen here in the indie comics side of things? Like, how would you describe it? Like, were you impressed? Is it something that you were, or did you have an idea that things were going to be like this? What could you tell us
Yeah,
about your experiences jumping into the indie comics?
yeah. So I guess I started following it a couple of years ago, and yeah, I'm sort of like drawn straight away to the Comicsgate side of things. Just probably and some of the themes in the book are sort of like lend themselves to a lot of the stuff Comicsgate is just talking about in general, um, and why they've gone independent and that sort of stuff. So, but yeah, I think I like what I've learned a fair bit. I think it's like about needing to um, build your own platform and get your own audience, and so that's sort of something I'm going to be trying to do in conjunction with having this book being released and moving on to the next books. Because yeah, it does seem fairly focused on artists rather than writers, from what
Yeah.
I've seen so far.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's two sides to that. No, there's the people that are all about the art, and there's people
Mm.
that also are all about the writing. And I don't know. I find myself like 50 45, like because I'm an artist, so by nature I'm attracted to the art, but I also highly respect what writing is about, and I'm in
Mm.
the writing stage of my own comic. So like the things that I've read about just what it takes to write a book or write a comic is just really interesting, and I had no idea there was so much involved. Like for example, would you say that this comic is character driven, plot driven? How would you describe it? Does the story move the plot? Does the character move the plot? How would you describe?
It's a little bit of both with this one, and I think because of the fact that it's this particular genre in slasher, there's like sort of certain rules I have to stick to.
Mhm.
It was actually really difficult to write, more so than some other stuff I've written, just because of the fact that this is a whodunit sort of slasher as well. So
Oh, nice.
you have to constantly, basically in every scene, like having to think about whether I'm giving away who the killer is, or if I'm
Nice.
putting in some red herrings and that sort of thing. So that was like an extra layer of things I had to think about on top of just plotting and character development. But yeah, I'd say like just I guess the nature of the writing, like it's so that the characters are fairly well, pretty well developed because I've put a lot of focus onto that. But then yeah, also with the plotting and of the story, like yeah, there's been a lot of work put into all of it really, and
Mhm.
a lot of rewriting as well. So yeah.
Nice. Awesome. And also, are you aware that there are a lot of Australian creators in CG and in indie comics
Mhm.
in general? Are you aware of some of
Yeah,
your
so
countrymen?
I've been following the Aussie guys. Yeah,
Yeah, they're doing really good stuff.
yeah, no, they are. Yeah, it's good. So
Nice.
yeah, I
Yeah,
kind
because
of like one of the first guys I came across was Bancroft. So I started
yeah,
watching his. Yeah, he's probably the guy I've streams I've watched the most, I'd say.
Yeah, his his show is always great. Yeah.
Yeah,
Be sure
and
to catch it.
he had a lot of I found his shows. He was talking generally about crowdfunding and comics were pretty helpful as I was making the book.
Nice.
Well.
Yeah. Him and there's also this fella by the name of Rob Arnold who also has a lot of great information about crowdfunding comics and there's a long list. And Aardvark, Kimosabi, a bunch of good people that make comics. And yeah, that's awesome. We can add another person to that list also with my boy here, Nick, and yeah, man, awesome. So let's see. Hey, just a curious question: who are your top 5 writers?
Top 5 writers.
Yeah, top 5 dead or alive writers. I'm curious.
Well, definitely, as I mentioned before, probably John Carpenter.
Yeah, you mentioned him. Yeah.
And then, I really like Garth Ennis.
Nice.
As well. I sort of grew up reading a lot of Robert Jordan stuff.
Robert Jordan.
The fantasy, his fantasy books. But I probably started reading them after Tolkien. It's not on, and those books they're not quite like that. So Jordan that's the Wheel of Time sort of books. I don't know if you've read those, but
Wheel of Time.
Yeah, and they adapted those into a sort of pretty poor Amazon show, which got cancelled after one season. So it didn't work out too well. But good. Yeah, I read a bit of fantasy stuff growing up, so probably Tolkien as well, and yeah.
That's 3. You got John Carpenter, Garth Ennis, Robert Jordan.
Oh yeah, put Tolkien in there, and then also Tolkien. Tarantino.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have your
definitely.
You have your Tarantino sequence with that with the blood thing.
Yeah, exactly.
With the blood scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, Tarantino's definitely been an influence, I'd say. I like the way he sort of, well, in film, I like the way he uses music a lot, but also sort of references to pop culture and obscure pop culture as well. Yeah, I think that's pretty great.
Yeah, that is very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So I would also, I think it would also be safe to assume that your writing process is not the Marvel method, but the opposite, where you script everything out. Is that correct?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. But
would you ever see yourself writing in the Marvel method?
I don't know. Like I sort of have read about that, but I think I sort of it's a bit of a blend. I guess like sometimes I just for certain pages as well. I wouldn't give much direction. It just depended. It depends on exactly what I wanted from that particular page. But yeah, there were some pages where I didn't give much direction at all, and then they're some of the best pages in the book, I reckon, as well. So yeah, I don't know. I would probably have to read up a little bit more on it.
Nice,
to be honest.
And are there any visuals that you found yourself that you were not able to execute in the comic format, or was your vision properly executed with the book?
Yeah, it's come across exactly sort of how I envisioned it. Yeah, the only thing that you really miss is music, I think.
Okay.
And how you can build a scene with music. It's a little bit different, obviously, but I've got a couple of scenes in here which still utilizes music in this book, and there's one particularly later on, where it's sort of there's music playing in one setting, but then we're cutting back and forth to another setting as through pages. But hopefully, it should come across that the music is playing across both scenes. So we'll see.
Nice. Yeah, I think with the selection that you have here with MC Hammer, I think everybody will be able to hear that particular scene at least.
Yeah.
That's
And then
awesome.
I think, and then there's a lot of action sort of in the second half of the book. That's when the killing really sort of ramps up. But we were I didn't have any problems in terms of the artist bringing across like all the action that we were trying to achieve there. Yeah,
because I ask because I know, for example, like in movies, there's particular shots, and I don't know, or particular sequences that one will like to like execute, and I don't know how easy it would be to translate that to the comic medium. So I mean, there could be limitations in that case.
Yeah,
the same could be said vice versa. Now, there's things you can do with comics that you just can't do with movies that could also make it difficult to execute the idea that you have. So I was wondering if you had any difficulties with that.
Yeah, well, you can't do camera movement as such, but I think you can do so much. Yeah, with comics, and then there's sort of like every comic is from what I've seen is they're just so different to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And they have different focuses, that they're in so many different styles, and this is so. And then the readers, like, they're looking for different things. Like, as you say, some people might be looking for the art more so than the story, and then others might be looking for the story and not care so much about the art, as long as the story is being told. And
nice.
So I think it's just so many different things that people are looking at.
Sweet, that's awesome. And jumping back, you mentioned that the book is the first of a trilogy. So are you going to leave us like on a cliffhanger at the end of this, or is this like could this be considered like a story, on its own, and then continues into the next?
Yeah, this is a complete story in itself, and then but then the ending could a little bit open-ended, ambiguous as well. But so that we can take it into the next story.
Nice. So it would be like Scream 1, Scream 2, like that, Scream 3, something like that, or just
different? So this one's called "Do You See What I See?" And then the sequel's called "Do You Think What I Think?" And
nice.
The last book is called "Do You Know What I Know?"
It's
I like the Do You series. I don't know. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. See, think, and know. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. Also wanted to compliment the colors. The colors are really, really good also, and is able to add that cinematic effect to the book, which is really, really good. And I think the colors and the line work really well here, and kudos to the creative team in general. And I think that's
Then I got Eric to come on and do the letters. Eric Leathers. So.
Yeah, Eric is awesome. Yeah, he does really, really good work. And And how was your experience working with Eric?
Yeah, it was great. I found even when it came to sound effects, like I didn't even really give him specifics. I would just say I'd sort of let him add what he felt. I would just say, "Oh, look, I need something in there," but I wouldn't really tell him what it was going to be. But especially when it comes to all the massacre and later all the kills and stuff, there's a lot of sound effects and stuff in there.
Nice.
But in terms of speech bubbles and he would just nail it straight away, basically. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. He's a master of his craft. He does lettering really well. All of the books that I've seen with his lettering have been just awesome quality.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything that I haven't liked yet from him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't say enough positive things about Mr. Weathers, and he's also an accomplished artist. Also, he's got artistic credits also to his name, which is great.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah,
His book's pretty cool.
and what are your feelings on having an editor? I don't think there's an editor attached to this, or was there? Is there?
No, there's no editor. But I sort of self edit
Okay,
through so many drafts were written on this, and then I also work pretty closely with my brother on
exactly. Okay,
that editing process. So it's not technically attached as an editor, but yeah,
exactly.
he's pretty good at telling. He's not shy at telling me when he thinks something doesn't work or things like that.
Exactly.
So yeah, that was
Nice.
good. Yeah.
And the dialogue also, I'm assuming that your brother would also help you like to work with the dialogue and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So
Sweet.
yeah, that was that. That was how I sort of approached the editing situation. Yeah, even just workshopping scenes, but then yeah, I guess in terms of finding whether if the story was making sense or there was something missing from his point of view. So yeah, no, that seemed to work pretty well. I guess
Nice.
yeah.
Awesome. That sounds great. Because and I know because one thing is like writing out the story, like doing a synopsis type of thing, and then there's
Yeah.
another aspect to that. To like once you've gotten your structure, you have to go in and write these scenes out. There's dialogue involved, and has that been easier or difficult for you? And how would
I've
you?
done so. I guess in my work as well, like I've done a lot of script editing and script reporting on other people's writing.
Nice.
So sort of, I guess it is different. Like when you're doing it on your own work, obviously it's because you're so close to it, it's easy to miss things.
Yeah.
But no, I sort of found probably for me working with my brother, the most benefit I was getting was if the story wasn't working for some reason, or I was trying too hard to make a connection to move the story forward, but that maybe that didn't work for the character, like the character's motivations, but because I was trying to push the story forward, like as a writer, sometimes you can tend to cheat a little bit just because you're trying to move things forward. So it was good to have, you do need someone out there externally who's going to say, that doesn't, it's not cutting it, it doesn't work. So yeah.
That's awesome, man. I'm try to share this with you, and if you can tell us about the campaign, like what can we expect? What things are available on the campaign?
Yeah, sure. So I kept it pretty simple because this is the first campaign that I've done.
Yeah,
So
I think it was a good idea.
yeah, so we've kept it to the book. Only I haven't, but there is a hardcover available and a paperback and also a digital edition. So it's just those three things, and then basically the perks are just a combination of those options.
Okay.
With the hardcover, that's going to be a limited edition. I think I'm only going to do 100 of those, and we're going to.
Oh, nice.
We're going to. So I'll sign those, and they'll be numbered as well. So we've nearly sold 50 of those.
Nice.
Already. So, and then, but then there'll be more the paperback. That'll just be the main one going forward, as well.
And I really appreciate you including a digital a digital option also, because that's one of my biggest issues is with shipping, and I live in South America, so getting comics out here it's expensive, but yeah, the digital option always is always a relief, and I appreciate that. And
well, I wanted wanted to remove as many sort of barriers as possible for people to be able to read it. So and even with that, with the digital one, if I put a perk on there, so that if you back the digital just straight up, then I'll also send you a link, like a secret link to a perk that has free shipping if you decide you actually want the book as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
Because I kind of consider that if you've paid for the digital, that sort of covers the shipping costs.
Yeah, that's a great incentive, because because you could always change your mind, and then you might want that book, and then you'll get a discount on shipping. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
And it's just it just gives an accessible level as well. Yeah, because especially sending the books from Australia as well. The shipping adds up.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
It won't be. It's not as bad shipping to the US, because I'm just going to send a batch over to RJ at Critical Blast.
Oh, nice.
And then he'll send them out from there. But
RJ is the man.
Still got to get the books to RJ. So you can reduce the cost a little bit, but
that's always a safe bet to give it to RJ, because he's got a lot of experience and a lot of connections, and he gives a really good price for international shipping and stuff. That's awesome. If you don't mind, could we play the trailer to the
absolutely
to the book?
Yeah.
And also to the people in the chat, Nick here, he has a YouTube channel also for his comic and his comic company, Augmented Liberty. There's a YouTube channel for that, and hopefully we can see.
So we just got the trailer there for the moment, but then we'll be looking at doing some other things with the YouTube channel.
Yeah, definitely. Let me see if I do this right. Please let me know if you can hear this, because maybe I'm not doing this right. But please let me know if you can hear this.
Yep.
Awesome. All right, so let's go back. All right, let's watch this trailer. That's awesome.
Thanks, man.
I dig it. And what's did you design the one second, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't stop playing the YouTube thing. I don't know if you guys heard that, but there was music has a dark night vibe. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, the music was great. It got you in the mood, and very cool. Yeah, I agree with BA. And did you design that character? Is that someone? What was the process for designing the villain?
So so the book set entirely in a college in the US, and then it sort of deals with themes around victim culture and authoritarianism and free speech and all these sort of issues which are
happening
popping
today.
up on campus. So and just it so happens like there's sort of like a speaker who's coming to the campus who sort of like stirs up some trouble, and like the students are trying to cancel him, and we have it, and sort of out on the edges of the
Sweet.
The protesters. We've sort of got sort of like this Antifa element to it,
Nice.
and so that's sort of where the mask comes from of the killer, and so like there's heaps of characters running around campus sort of wearing this mask as part of the protests. And
wow.
So I wanted to have I didn't want it just to be a random sort of mask that was just there just to hide a killer's identity. It's part of the story, and but the actual mask itself is like that's based on it's an old Russian Soviet mask.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I dig that. That's awesome. Really cool. And so we're about to wrap it up in a little bit, and let's see. Are any final words or thoughts? Any final elevator pitches type thing to get the backers to check out the work?
Yeah, no, just like if you're just thinking about trying it, I recommend just backing it digitally, and you'll have the book within a few hours. It's all 100% completed, and so
Sweet.
You can read it within a few hours, and it's a good long read, so it's a lot of fun. Whether you're into slashes or not, like there's a lot of deeper themes and stuff in there as well. So there's a lot of dark humor and stuff. So there's a lot of stuff in there for lots of different people.
I dig it.
Yeah.
Because you got the slasher element, you got the social climate element, with Antifa and things like that. The protests, really good, and then you got music, you got social references and stuff like that. Really good stuff.
Yeah,
I enjoy it, and I look forward to backing it also. And so please check it out. I have the link in the description below, so you can take a look at the page. You can back the digital tier, and then hopefully get that hardcover. That hardcover looks great. I love the design of the bad guy. It looks really cool, iconic, I would say. And all around good stuff. Please be sure to check that out. And so Nick, where can we find you?
On Twitter, Sir_Brew on Twitter, or you can go through my website, augmentedliberty.com as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. And awesome. And then you can catch me here. I do this show once every Wednesday at the exact same time. And so I have more videos. I recently posted a video for a new series called Your Art Sucks, because your art sucks. And it's just a video looking at critiques, trying to shine some light on critiquing art. And in this case, I'm giving some critiques for my own art. So take a look at it. Hopefully you like it. Feedback is always welcome. So you can catch me here on YouTube. I'm also on Twitter, on Instagram, and on Facebook. Be sure to follow for all news. And next week I'm going to also announce today that next week I'm going to have Edwin Acevedo, the creator of the Ace comic. He's going to be here next week. We're going to talk about his current campaign and his new comic that's going to come out also. So he's got two comics that we're going to discuss next week. So I'll be here again next week. Thank you very much to everybody in the chat for showing up. Thank you to Nick for coming by and talking to us about his process and for talking about writing. I don't get to talk about writing that much, and I really appreciated having this opportunity with you, Nick. And
thank you.
And yeah, so that's it. Well, we're finished, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thank you very much. Take care, Nick.
See you guys.
And I'm out.